Welcome to our next part in our YouTube series. We're going to talk about cosmetics, male and female cosmetics. And the thing that most people don't realize is that 85% of the cosmetics that you and I buy, I don't care if it's cologne, aftershave, shaving cream, toothpaste, mascara, 85% of the chemicals that go into cosmetics have never been fully tested for human safety. We just don't know. Why is that? Well, there's a loophole in our laws. Cosmetics are not a food or a drug. And because they're not a food or a drug, you're not consuming them. And so they don't have to go through EPA or FDA, Food and Drug Administration approval. And that's the loophole in our law. And for that reason, we just often with cosmetics don't know what the problem is. Yet we do know that studies have shown that a lot of the chemicals in cosmetics can cause a real serious health problems. Let me give you an example. UCLA did a study years ago. They looked at women working in beauty salons in LA County. And what they found was, think about a beauty salon. The dyes, the glues, the hair straighteners, the acetone nail polish removers. If you were working in a beauty salon, if you were working in a factory, not a beauty salon, in this country with those same chemicals, you'd be in a hazmat suit. But if you go in a beauty salon, you'd freak out if the guy or gal was in a hazmat suit. So they wear these little paper masks to let you know they're being safe. Well, paper doesn't filter out chemicals; it actually absorbs them. So the worst thing they can do in a beauty salon is wear those paper masks. All they can do is possibly reduce dust, but not chemicals. The best thing in beauty salons, like your home, and we'll talk about that, is fresh air. So open up the back door, open up the front door, put a fan on, and a lot of salons doing that. In any case, the UCLA study found that the increase in women working in beauty salons of brain cancer was something like 600%, and a very specific type of brain cancer. And that was directly tied to the number of chemicals they are using in the salon. So this is real stuff. So I'm not going to go through all the chemicals that will put you to sleep, and me as well, but I'm going to go through some of the major ideas, and then I'm going to give you some resources and tips and simple things you can do to protect yourself. And you don't have to look and smell like a troll. There are simple things you can do, and we're going to get to that. So let's go through some of the major things just to give you a feel for the subject. One of the major chemicals that's been in the news and in the science journals the last few years is a chemical called tricyclane. And what it is an antibacterial. So you'll find it in toothpaste. It was traditionally in toothpaste, liquid soap, hand soaps, even Listerine, because of its antibacterial component. But what we know about triclosan is that it can reduce or increase, actually, our resistance to antibiotics. So let's say you come along, you need an antibiotic for a bronchitis or an infection and what have you, it can reduce the effectiveness of the antibiotic. And so triclosan has been taken out of a lot of toothpaste, but it's still in a lot of our products today. So you want to look it up. One of the products I know that still has it in it is Colgate Total, which is, I think, the number one selling toothpaste in the country. And Colgate's resisted, it's taken out of all the other Colgate toothpaste, but not Colgate Total. It's their number one seller. So if you're using Colgate Total, I would say chuck it and look for a toothpaste that does not have triclosan in it. Another chemical is called retinol palmitate, and you'll find that in lipsticks, moisturizers. And what that does is it sort of creates a smoothness and what have you, which is nice for those products. But applied to the skin, which is where it is applied to, it can increase your sensitivity to sun. So let's say you're somebody who has an inclination towards skin cancer. It's been shown it can actually exacerbate that problem. So again, it's something I would look for not in any moisturizers or lipsticks you're using, and there are products available. The next one is parabens. Parabens are found in shampoo and hair products. And what they do is they make things smoother and they make things last. But what we do know is they have been linked to an increase in breast cancer as well as reproductivity safety. So they can actually impede your body's ability to reproduce. Not a good thing if you're looking at having a family. So again, parabens, I would take that. I would take products that have that and not use them. Lastly, we look at nail polishes. So many of them have what are called phthalates in them. And phthalates are known to disrupt hormones. Let's talk about that. Hormone disruption is a nice buzzword, but let me try to give it to you in simple terms. Many man-made chemicals, and parabens are one, imitate the immune system or a hormone in the immune system. So when you take it into your body, and remember, we're placing these cosmetics on the second most absorptive organ of the human body, our skin, second only to the lungs. So if we're placing them on our body in some form or fashion, they're absorbing to some degree into it. So when you use nail polish that has phthalates in that, that can disrupt hormones. So what does that mean? Well, the body mistakes that chemical for a hormone, and so it doesn't produce as much of that hormone. And so, for instance, let's say it mistakes it for estrogen type of compound, and so it doesn't make estrogen, so you might become depleted in estrogen. Other chemicals might mimic testosterone, so it thinks it's testosterone, so it doesn't produce as much testosterone. And this imbalance of hormones is a major cause of reproductive and health problems. The increase of synthetic or man-made estrogen-mimicking compounds have been tied to some of the increases we see in breast cancer today. So again, this is not something you want to buy products that you're putting on your body that contain parabens. Lastly, dyes. A lot of dyes contain mercury, which is a toxic metal. I don't know if you ever heard the expression "mad as a hatter" in Lewis and Carroll's in Alice in Wonderland, sort of immortalized that phrase. But "mad as a hatter" actually came from the Middle Ages. It was a phrase in the Middle Ages. During that period, coming into the Renaissance area, tall hat, felt hats became the rage. Real tall felt hats for men and women with feathers in them and stuff like that. And what hatters would do in a hatting factory, and a hatting factory might be as big as this office with a couple of wood tables in it, hatters would rub this liquid solution into the felt. And so when it dried, the felt would be stiff and would stand up tall. It wouldn't be a droopy Harry Potter hat, it would stand up tall. The liquid solution they rubbed into the felt was mercury, and mercury absorbs through the skin. And so if you worked in a hatting factory back then for a number of weeks, you would start to walk with a limp. You would start to maybe drool, forget your name, and people would say, "Oh, you're working in the hatting plant? You're going to be mad as a hatter in a few weeks." In fact, they were. And that's where the expression "mad as a hatter" came from. So mercury is not something I advise you put in your teeth in fillings, let alone in dyes that you apply to your head or your face in any kind of a cosmetic way. So you want to check that. Another thing of warning, we've seen over the last 5 years, so many of the products, cosmetics, household products and so forth, kids' toys that are imported from China, that are made in China, that doesn't have our strict environmental laws, have often been found to be high in mercury. So again, if you can buy American-made, you have an additional protection on cosmetics. So what do? Well, one of the things I advise, which is just good environmental advice in terms of the climate change and respiratory inhalation of chemicals, is don't use aerosols. Not good for the environment. And if you inhale some of these chemicals, that's a much better way to get them into your body than even the skin. So use pump sprays if you can. If you buy cosmetics, good tip. Sunscreens. Sunscreens are important, particularly if you're out in the sun, you don't want to get skin cancer and so forth. But too much SPFs, in sunscreen can have other detrimental effects. They're chemicals. So I tell people, if you're going out in the sun, use zinc oxide. It's a white cream, put it on your nose, your lips, whatever. It's going to protect you much better and not poison you at the same time. So regular sunscreens. Probably the best resource I can give you is to go on to a website, ewg.org. And EWG stands for Environmental Working Group. And the Environmental Working Group has done a lot of work on a lot of different subjects. So one of the main focuses they've had in the last few years are these chemicals in cosmetics. And on that site, if you just search the link Skin Deep, it's not a porn site I checked, don't worry. So check the link that says Skin Deep. And what they've done at EWG is they've evaluated human cosmetics and what ones that have been adequately tested for safety, that don't have some of these toxic chemicals in, and they give you recommendations as well as identify ones that do have these chemicals in them. So it's a good way to start. They also have a free app you can download to your phone. And so like after hearing this little series, you go, oh my God, I'm going to go to Bloomingdale's and buy my favorite cosmetics, and this Wisner guy has me freaked out. Well, you download this app to your phone, and you go into this department store, and you don't know if the stuff's safe or not. Take your smartphone, it'll read the barcode, and it will come up to whether that specific product's been safety tested, and if not, then recommend an equal alternative that has. So these are safe things you can do, so you can still look hot, you can still smell nice without spending good money to poison yourself. Okay, so be well, be safe, and I'll see you in our next series.